welcome to Why Am I Watching This? I'm Kyle Mustaine. This week's movie is The Mermaid Chair, starring Kim Basinger. One interesting thing about this movie is the person who directed it is the director of Friday the 13th Part 6, which is one of the ones that doesn't suck. That's notoriously the one where Horseshack from Welcome Back Kotter is the first person to get killed, so it has a special place in my heart. But on with the review. Kim Basinger plays Jessie Sullivan, a woman who has returned to her hometown on a small island off the coast of South Carolina to care for her mother, who has had a psychotic episode and cut off one of her fingers. Jessie is also on the outs with her husband, so this little excursion may be just the break they need for their marriage. From the very beginning, Kim Basinger sounded subdued, like she was on a morphine drip or something.
The woman who wanted to swim with the mermaids. The woman who wanted to be free.
The title comes from a mermaid chair in a Catholic church. When Jessie sits in the mermaid chair, she has some kind of hot flash or head rush, or the morphine drip has finally kicked in or something. About 10 minutes in, I had the realization, oh, this is a woman falls in love with a monk movie. Seriously though, is this a major fantasy by Catholic women? Because it is such a major subgenre of romance, I have to assume it is a popular fantasy. And honestly, it points to some deep psychological fallacies within the Catholic Church's celibacy policies, as well as the repressed sexuality of Catholic women. And I totally encourage someone to write another dissertation on it so we can toss it onto a pile of things that people in power will never listen to. I like the juxtaposition of monks and mermaids, two things that make absolutely no sense but go well together. The movie tells us the myth behind mermaids is that they save people, so they're basically underwater angels. Now, how do these Catholics on this isolated island reconcile believing in two mythologies at once? My brain is on overload trying to process this paradox, while no one in the movie seems to be questioning it at all. And what I really hate is that mermaids are made so one-dimensional. They exist solely to be beautiful and service mankind. So when you think about it, they're just 1950s housewives. Seriously, what the fuck is this? There's a shop called the Mermaid's Tale, spelled T-A-L-E. Ha! Pun. Then there's a book written by some knock-knock joke-telling monk that's also called The Fucking Mermaid's Tale. Is this a coincidence? No. The writer ran out of ideas. I hear if you read the book, there's actually just an asterisk and a footnote with an apology from the author that she quit trying, and the remaining 300 pages are blank and up to you to fill out for yourself. As if this movie wasn't already enough of a mockery of everything, there's an African-American character who is the only visible black person in this community, and she dresses in African clothes and beats bongos and talks about how great Africa is while she lives on this dominantly Catholic island and teaches elderly bourgeoisie white women how to beat bongos. I don't get it. Jessie hooks up with a monk. They do that kind of kissing that's not kissing. They have sex on a beach in a fashion that looks just like the cover of a romance novel. You know, no fun. After the non-sex, the monk gets dressed, and Jessie says, "I'm responsible for my father's death."
My dad died on his boat. There was an explosion. It was my fault.
Okay, hold up now. I'm gonna do a little PSA. Please, after you've just had sex, do not drop emotional loads on each other. That's how things get weird. On the contrary, sex can and should be an immensely enjoyable activity for upwards of 2 consenting adults. Talking is an activity that's not as much fun, and we do more or less so that we can get to have sex. Kim Basinger's big acting moment is when she cries in a closet clutching a pipe. Yes, what you're seeing actually happens in this movie. There's a creepy, morphine-y realism to it that makes me wonder if Kim Basinger has done the same thing in real life. Let's go back to the main story though, which I've pretty much forgotten already. Jesse's crazy mother who's been cutting her fingers off. She'd read about a saint who cut his finger off, so she decided to cut hers off one by one. As it turns out, Jesse's father had Alzheimer's or something, and her mother, the knock-knock joke-telling monk, who by the way had only been in 2 scenes up to this point, and the local restaurant owner, who I thought was an extra, got together and gang euthanized the father, for which the mother has repented by cutting off her fingers. But she seems to be completely cured after confessing everything to her daughter, when her daughter is like 50. Now, it seems to me that a lot of heartache and finger chopping could have been avoided had the mother told Jessie when she was like 20, as opposed to letting her live her entire adult life thinking that she was responsible for her father's death. I mean, this is based on a book written by an actual person, presumably with an actual brain. She had to think the whole story through, come up with characters, conflicts, the whole shebang. And this is the best that she could come up with. And it made tons of money. And if that's possible, then maybe mermaids are possible. If you'll excuse me, I have some fingers to go chop off.